Aloha everyone, this is Chesapeake Movie Thoughts. And the other day, I was watching one of my favorite web series, The Nostalgia Critic, on YouTube, Channel Awesome. And he was starting his Disney live-action remakes month. And as he was introducing it, he mentioned a point that Disney has always been a company that has been specializing in timeless entertainment to last throughout the generations. But they also like to cash in on popular trends too. And yeah, he's right. I've always known this about Disney. Disney's always had two sides to it. There's the Walt Disney Pictures, Disney Animation side, which that's the timeless entertainment. That's the kind of thing where it just lasts generation after generation. It's something that is just, it doesn't grow old. But then there's also like the Disney Channel side of Disney, where they make like teen sitcoms and they promote teen pop stars. Tends to be like the teen to young adult demographic that they tend to be shooting at with this, but they're always going after, what is popular at the moment. Not much thought to like whether this is going to last. They just want to capture that demographic right then and there. And he applied this to the Disney live-action remakes, like that, saying Disney is trying to do both at the same time. And once he said that, something just clicked in my brain. It was like, that makes total sense. That seems to be exactly what Disney is doing here with the live-action remakes. And it kind of explains how I've been feeling about the live-action remakes lately. When they were still somewhat rare, I felt generally positive about them. Then they've done a lot of them now, and there's many more on the way. And I've begun to feel a little bit more negative about them. It's like almost like it's Disney just going down the list and just checking off the box. Whereas before it seemed like maybe someone had a vision, maybe of a new version for it. But now it's just like they're just churning them out. But now I realize they're not being made for me. They're not being made for my demographic. They're being made to bring in this teen demographic that really, Disney only is able to capture with the, with their Disney Channel stuff and those sort of things. And that's kind of why they're not really lasting for me, like the animated classics. I mean, it's kind of smart business from Disney's point of view, because that teen to young adult demographic, something that Disney's always struggled with. They have that like this one little niche, this one little side of Disney that goes after them. But that is the age where a lot of people will tend to look at animation and say, "Oh, that's just kids stuff. I don't want to have anything to do with kids stuff." So, getting these, this audience invested in Disney's bread and butter, which is fairy tales. Yeah, you would have to do it live action, and you'd have to bring in all the trends that they're following, all the popular actors and actresses. You'll notice that live action remakes, they almost always have at least one big name star, if not like a whole all-star cast. So, someone who was really hot and popular at the time. And they try to bring in new filmmaking techniques for these things which are popular but haven't really stood the test of time, like CGI. A lot of CGI in these, not a lot of mixing with practical effects. It's mostly CGI in these. They try to, in some cases, they try to take some of the old, more passive protagonists, like Mowgli in the Jungle Book or Cinderella in Cinderella. Characters that in their own stories mostly just have things happen to them. They're mostly not the driving force in their own stories. And that's very much not in fashion right now. That is very much out of style right now. It's the style now is to have very proactive protagonists that are actively forwarding the story. And so they tried to do, when they tried to do the remake of The Jungle Book and they tried to do the remake of Cinderella, they tried to make those characters more proactive. Successfully, I think, with Mowgli. Not very successfully, I think, with Cinderella. But with Mowgli, I guess minor spoiler here for the Jungle Book remake, they changed the ending. I'm not going to spoil, what it is that they changed, but they do change the ending. So with the new ending and the new way the film ends up, it makes sense for Mowgli to be more active, and then I think that this is like probably the only one where I think it may have actually, in some respects, been better than the original. That being said, though, 10 years from now, it's probably going to be the animated one that people are remembering, not this one. But in some aspects, the live-action Jungle Book is better. But in the live-action Cinderella, the story kind of requires a passive protagonist. It kind of requires someone to let things happen to her. So they tried to make her more of an independent person, a stronger person, and then you end up in a spot where, okay, if she is stronger and more independent and, could, go out there and be more active, why isn't she doing that? Because, you can't change the ending of Cinderella. Everybody knows how Cinderella ends. So it has to end this way, and she has to be passive. But in the movie, we see that she doesn't, by nature, it's not in her personality necessarily to be passive. So, yeah, I don't think it kind of worked in that. But that is a more modern thing. That is a more trendy thing to do than to just do the old story over again. So, it seems that I'm not sure what to think going forward now with regards to the live-action movies. Aladdin does seem interesting, and with the casting of Will Smith as the genie, I'll probably give that a try. It's really hard to mess up The Lion King, so I'll probably give that a try. Dumbo just seems completely out of left field for a live-action remake. Like I said, I guess it's a box they had to check. But yeah, I don't know if I'd even, because I might just have to acknowledge that the live-action Dumbo is not for me. Maybe it will be. I haven't seen. They haven't really put out anything about it yet. So maybe I'll change my mind when I see some images from it or a trailer. One thing we have seen a trailer for is Christopher Robin, the live-action remake / sequel to Winnie the Pooh. And I don't know. You hear Jim Cummings' voice as Winnie the Pooh, and I was really happy to hear that. But the thing about the Winnie the Pooh movies is that in the back of your mind that what's going on is imaginary. It's going on in Christopher Robin's imagination. But that's only implied. It leaves it open enough so that if you wanted to, you could interpret this as the 100-Acre Wood just being this magical world where Christopher Robin's stuffed animals come to life and they just live and they have full lives out in the 100-Acre Woods. But, with this new one apparently not being set in the 100-Acre Woods, with Christopher Robin all grown up, and Pooh apparently showing up out of nowhere after years of having him now, I guess Christopher Robin just no longer was imagining him. That's making it a little too explicit that Pooh is like an imaginary friend, and I don't like that. So maybe that movie is not for me. I don't know. But yeah, I'll have to see. I guess it's a case-by-case basis. I guess I'm not going to just flat out go to the live-action remakes, because I may just have to kind of put that in the Disney Channel category, the High School Musicals, and that kind of category, with just a little overlap to my demographic, but not enough, I guess. Or I guess case-by-case basis. Anyway, what do you guys think? What do you guys think of the Disney live-action remakes? Put it in the comments below. Like, comment, subscribe, and that's a wrap.